Hi, this is Marilyn from Tarot Clarity again, continuing the series of side-by-side comparisons between the LeGrande Circus and Sideshow Tarot with the tarot of the Zirkus Magi. The last suit is the suit of coins or pentacles. It's worthy to mention that all along the LeGrande Circus and Sideshow Tarot has, this one here, has been consistently based on the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, in that all the names of all the cards are the same. And this particular suit, they deviate. They change this particular suit from pentacles to coins, but it's no real far stretch. And of course, all along, the Zirkus Magi has renamed everything anyway. So Ace of Rings is how they name this particular suit. On the left, we see the Ace of Coins in the very familiar hand holding the symbol of the suit, which in this case is a coin. And let's face it, you need a coin to get into the circus to begin your new experience or great adventure. And, the circus is all about fun, but it's all about, making a living too. The card on the right by the Zirkus Magi, Ace of Rings, the key word here is winter quarters. Now, there was no little white book that came with this particular deck, despite the fact that it costs like $80. But I am aware that the author or the creator of this deck had written a book about a clown's experience in the circus. I think his name is Frieder. And in the course of writing the story, there was a tarot plot in there somewhere. And I think that was the spark of inspiration for the author to create the tarot deck. But I didn't buy the book because I don't really think that the book, tells you the meaning of the tarot cards. I think this deck of tarot just enhances the story. So as far as I know, I don't think there's a book or any kind of source, a reference source, to reference these cards. I've looked, but I think there is a book referencing the major arcana, but not the entire deck. So pretty much you're going on your own instincts, or at least I am, when interpreting this deck. Now, obviously, the circle here is reminiscent of a coin or a pentacle. And surely there is a star kind of, it's not a pentagram, but there is a pointed shape inside the circle. I guess it's a type of ring, although the clown's head is going through what appears to be paper. It's either a drum or some type of circular poster. You can see the hands of the clown and his body in the background. So he's forcing his head through whatever that happens to be. The edges are cartoon characters. Maybe it's some type of wheel where you spin it and whatever character it lands on. I don't know. I'm making this up, but I'm trying to make a connection here. Winter quarters suggests that, the clown packs it, the circus packs it up and goes to a winter location. So that kind of sounds like an ending rather than a beginning, but it could be seen as the beginning of, something new, a new phase of the circus. But I'm grasping at straws here. If anyone has any information on that, please enlighten me. The Two of Coins on the left mimics the gesture of the character or the figure in the Two of Pentacles of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, almost identically. Here we also have the lemniscate, connecting the cotton candy. We also have as a sign that this is coins, look, a coin belt around the vendor's waist. I don't know if readily by looking at this, other than those clues, that you would recognize it as the Two of Coins. There are what appear to be two really tiny coins on the cones that serve as the container for the cotton candy. But you just have to be familiar with the tradition in order to probably recognize this card. But, the card suggests a fun time, a good time, probably with friends. And I think that's what this card is trying to express. We have two different colored curtains. I'm not really sure what that signifies, if it signifies anything. To the right with the Two of Rings, the keyword is virtuoso, and we have a tuba player. And in the horn of the tuba, we have a little girl with her own horn. I think that I'm not, oh gosh, the name of that horn eludes me at the moment. It's a simple word, but I can't think of it. At any rate, I don't know. She kind of looks like a spirit, as does the instrument. The instrument itself and the little girl almost seem like they're of the spirit world. So I don't know if that's just my impression. But the two of them, they're not currently playing. They're looking at the audience, or they're looking at us, looking at them. But it appears as though those two work in harmony or create sweet music together of some sort. Now, bearing in mind that in the circus of this particular deck, the coins represents the category of the circus that brings in the money, obviously, and advertising is a big part of that. So here we have the three fellas who are undoubtedly responsible for putting the finishing touches to a poster or sign or some type of signage advertising the circus, or making the trip, not just advertising the circus. I guess that would be more the job of the bill posters, but decorating and keeping upkeep of the circus itself to make everything bright and shiny and fun. On the Three of Rings on the right side, the keyword is methodology, and I guess it's a woman who's throwing plates in the air, some type of discs in the air. That seems to be her activity, and I guess she has a method to how she does her throwing. I suppose this card, is readily recognized as the Three of Coins. It's one of the cards that you could probably tell what it is by looking at it. And here with the Four of Coins on the left and the Four of Rings on the right, we have a similar feel of an individual sort of hoarding. On the left side, on the case of the left side, kind of hoarding the coins or the money, and on the right side, hoarding some goods, The fellow on the right is of ample size, and he doesn't need to eat those two pies, but he try getting them from him. And the same with the fellow on the left. He's, maybe the cashier. He's a ticket salesman, I guess. And yeah, you're not going to cheat him. Both of these cards do a pretty good job of showing adversity, which is the key word for the Five of Rings. On the right-hand side for the Zirkus Magi, the fellow is tied wrists and ankles to a wheel in the snow, and he's outside. He's outside, so I mean, yeah, I guess that's adversity. I mean, I wouldn't want to be there. There's no five rings, so to speak of. I don't know if without the title or the keyword, if you'd recognize it as the Five of Rings, but certainly you would recognize it as a hard time or a difficult situation to be in. On the left, we have a mother and child. It looks like a mother and child, and they obviously don't have the money to enter the circus. Despite it not costing very much, they just can't gain, entrance. The mother has her palm out. Maybe somebody can help me out a little bit. She's not too ashamed to ask for help. And the youngster is not ashamed to climb under the curtain if he can, So there you have it. And clearly, as with all the cards of this deck, the symbol is clearly represented. Now, this particular card, having followed the previous card with the mother and child, mon Dieu. I don't know where I put it. Well, following the card with the mother and child, underneath, I'm sorry. Following the mother and child card, we have some type of benevolent chap who is, let me get my hand out of the way, who is happy to, give entrance to some youngsters who might not otherwise be able to afford it. He looks like, taking candy from a stranger a little bit. I don't think that's the intent with this particular card, but the feeling I might get is, be careful who you get money from. You don't want to be beholden to them, for any strange reason. But I think that that's not really the intent. It's just my wicked mind going there. And just showing generosity and gratitude for accepting a gift so that you could attend this wonderful circus in the background. Now, the Six of Rings of the Zirkus Magi takes a different slant. It's more like patronage. Clearly, they're paying for their entrance. They're at the entrance. No one's giving them anything for free. They're paying their way. And there's a long line at the ticket office. Again, there are no 6 rings, to readily recognize what this card is. You can read it without any words whatsoever, but it seems almost like this deck is increasingly more like an oracle deck. If it weren't for the titles and the keywords, I think it would be read as an oracle, Very few of the cards are recognizable for what they are. Doesn't mean you can't read them, and it doesn't mean, you could read tea leaves, you can read shadows on a wall, I'll read anything, but as far as, remaining true even to a tarot sense, never mind like our Rider-Waite-Smith or Crowley, it kind of increasingly is reminding me more of an oracle deck. Now, having said what I just said in the previous card about the deck on the right, the Zirkus Magi, I rather like this representation of the 7 of coins. The key word here is cultivation, because it does show a thriving circus, which is one interpretation for the 7 of pentacles or coins is, thriving, having amassed something, taking a look at it, and this is an aerial perspective more or less. So we're taking an overview look of the success or the progress of the circus. So I think that's a rather nice card for it. Again, let's see here. We do have 5 rings. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, so we have 7 rings rather. Yeah, so we have 7 rings if you count the tops of the merry-go-rounds as rings, which they are. And to the left, we have the ticket holder. He is, looking at his coinage. He's rather pleased with it. You wonder what he's going to do with it, how he's going to invest the coinage, if he's, maybe going to cheat the circus, or if I doubt it. I'm sure he's an honest fellow, but he is noticing it, and he is rather pleased, it seems. Undoubtedly, the 8 of coins or the 8 of rings of both decks speaks of the artistry of the circus. Here we have this beautiful this beautiful wagon, artistically done, very ornate, with the artist, adding to it, working on it. And the 8 of rings, the key word here is transformation of the Zirkus Magi. And it's kind of interesting. It almost looks like the repair shop, for fixing the, animals on the carousel, or, maybe this is the winter time and that's when they do their work, maybe the Ace of Rings, when they alerted us to the circus, relocation during the winter months, maybe this entire suit, or at least some of the cards in this suit address that, and this definitely looks like the period of time when the artists are, doing some kind of restoration, and they call the card transformation, which I guess is in line with restoration of sorts. Well, to the left, it makes me think of when I was a kid, what says joy greater than a balloon? I remember when my parents used to take us to the Mummers Parade. It doesn't matter that we saw all these great characters marching up and down and playing with their music up and down the street on Broadway, on Broad Street. But, nothing said that I was at the Mummers Parade more than getting a balloon. And the same with the circus, You could see all the great feats and stuff, but man, having that balloon in the car drive home was it, And so I think that the card on the left really amply shows, joy. especially from a child's perspective. Interestingly, both of these women have their bird characteristic. I'm not sure if either bird is a falcon, but we get the idea. The Nine of Rings on the right shows attainment, perhaps because she's an ample-sized woman. That's the idea behind an attainment. Without the Nine of Rings on identifying the card at the top, and without the word attainment, again, this would be a card I'd probably read as an oracle, or see as more of an oracle. You could still interpret it however you want, but I don't know that I would ever recognize it as the Nine of Rings, or attainment for that matter. Both of these cards kind of remind me of Mae West saying, too much of a good thing is really a good thing. That's a paraphrase, but she says something like that. And the entrance, on the card to the left of the LeGrande Circus, we have a couple who enter with their child. I don't know who the dogs belong to, but they've entered the show and they're eager to get their money's worth, The Ten of Rings on the right side, I like that it represents legacy, because many times the Ten of Coins, people forget to remember that legacy is an aspect of the Ten of Coins or Pentacles. And so I rather like that that is the key word for this particular card. And sure, you see a couple who are, very satisfied. They have their little creatures. One's a rabbit, one's a dog. I'm not really sure what that thing is, but it's reminiscent of some type of elephant maybe, but I don't think so. But, they have a happy home, and they're contented, and that's their legacy. The circus is their life. And now we enter into the court cards of both decks of the suit of coins. On the left, we have the page announcing the arrival of good things, and that's a really clever way to do it. And the ring bill poster on the right is, again, very similar to all the others. There are, an indication that he's hanging posters, and his object is a bicycle which has wheels. And, again, news of the circus. And then if you incorporate it with, what the rings mean, you would be able to collaborate the page, the idea of it being a bill poster, merging it with the concept of rings or coins or pentacles. With the Knight of Coins, again, we're reminded on the Zirkus Magi deck on the right that all the knights are women. They're all on horses, and the exception that distinguishes them is the symbol of their suit, in which case is a zodiacal image, I think, in the background. It's not clear. I can't make out what it is. And to the left, this guy reminds me of, like in the old time Hollywood when they had a fixer, when there was a scandal and you called a fixer to fix things. Well, that's kind of the impression I get from this guy. He's making sure that everything's going good, He kind of has got his eye on everything, And if something goes awry, he is going to take care of it. And to the left, we have the Queen of Coins, who is a sharp woman, and she understands money matters, and she knows what's coming into the circus, and she knows what the circus is spending. So she is a very important part of the suit of coins, in that she makes sure that the wealth is coming in and the money is being spent wisely. So she has a very active role in this process, and she's entering, each coin or dollar that she receives, she's entering it in the book, so she's in charge. The Duchess of Rings on the right side of the Zirkus Magi is a queen. They're both sitting in a chair, or, they're both sitting in a throne of sorts. The one on the left is in a chair, and this one, the unicycle, is her throne. We have a rabbit, which we often see in the Queen of Pentacles or coins, and we see lots of flowers. So this is one queen, or the Duchess, who kind of does express who she is by the ornamentation in this card. She's one of the few queens, I think, of this deck that strike me as, aside from the object of the suit, really does give me a sense of who she is. Maybe the Queen of Batons did too, or the Duchess of Batons, if she was the one that had the tiger poster behind her with kind of a fiery. I think that was the Queen of Batons. I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, just distinguishing the queens or the bill posters of this particular deck really takes a lot of scrutiny. I mean, more so than just casually looking at it. But this one, I think, very plainly, you could recognize who she is. And with the final card of the suit of both decks, we have the King of Coins to the left and the Governor of Rings on the right. And I think both men command respect. We get the sense, despite the fact that one is more casual and approachable and the other is more foreboding. And this king is very hands-on in this deck, and this king, this governor is certainly in charge, but maybe in the background. You see his pile of money behind him, and this king has a coin in his hand. But both are stately men, and you get a sense that you need to be respectful when you approach either of them. One is maybe a more learned man in this depiction, and the other is more a man of the earth, which are two characteristics that you could say of the King of Pentacles or coins of any deck. And so that wraps up the comparison side by side of all 5 suits, the 4 suits, and then also the 5th suit being the major arcana. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's helped you decide, if you can only afford one or the other, which one to purchase. The Zirkus Magi was probably about $80. This is the first edition. I do know that there are less expensive versions of this deck on his website, which is Duck Soup Productions. You can find it there. And then the LeGrande Circus is published by, I think it's U.S. Games. U.S. Game System. So it's considerably less expensive. You can easily get it on Amazon for somewhere in the low $20 U.S. dollars. And the, Zirkus Magi is a self-published deck, created by Doug Thornsjo, available exclusively at his website. I guess you could get lucky and find a copy on eBay or whatever, but you just never know if you're getting a legit copy. I guess it's fair at this stage to finally show you the backs of these cards, which I should have done all along. You definitely get a circus feel from this. This one may be a little different, a little, maybe not screaming circusy, but, tastefully done. The cardstock, actually, they're similar, The Zirkus Magi is a bit flashy, This is more of a dull, dull reflect. I have a lot of light on here, so that's the reason for the reflection. But this is smoother, and but this is very slick. You can definitely feel the slickness on this. And so there you have it. I'm Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and I really hope that you've enjoyed this, and I hope it's helped you decide which one you might want, if either. And please, feel free to follow me on Instagram, where I'm at the Tarot Reader. That's where I am on Instagram. And I do have a tarot website, tarotclarity.com, where I maintain a tarot blog and also provide readings to anyone who visits and wants one. So until next time, this has been a lot of fun. This was my first series of videos, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed doing it. Bye for now.